Happy Sunday to all of you. Welcome back to Grand Prix World, where we'll be doing rounds 8 and 9 and possibly even 10 if we are so lucky to catch up from the midweek half-arsed episode. Super cool to be back. Hopefully normal service will resume now, and I hope all you guys are good. Right, that's enough intro. Let's see what's what. It's only been a few days and I've already completely forgotten where we were at, so let's go over that again. So we are waiting for the guarantee from Play Life, very, very important. We've got everything we can possibly get out of Ford. Very important deal for us. 2 seasons means that we save ourselves a lot of negotiation in the next season and the season following that, which frees us up to get more monies from other unsuspecting marques. We've stayed with Goodyear for another season. We've got a works deal from them, and we've unlocked fast tyre upgrades, but there are still 2 more bonuses to go, and again, we want a guarantee if at all possible. A little bit disappointed that we only get a 1-season deal there, but the fact we got 2 seasons out of Play Life means we can hopefully find ourselves a multi-year deal for tyres and fuel next season. And we've begun talking to Danke and PlayStation. PIAA are already signed with us because we are big time buddy bros. Sorry, choked to death for a moment there. And that is who we are taking to the party. Right, that brings me up to speed. I do that for myself as much as I do it for you guys. Let's see if I've done testing this round. I have not. Okay. So, we are done with engine development pretty much. We are done completely with fuel development, and all we have left to really worry about is the wet weather tyre, the full wet. I will run some tyre testing then and a microscopic amount of engine testing and hopefully bring that up to date. Everything is where it should be in terms of designers assigned to jobs. That's pleasing. I do recall that last time out we finished by doing some of the pre-race prep work for round 8 because I figured we'd be doing a 3-round episode to catch up. Right, we don't want to be doing any development testing. That looks good, that looks good, that looks good. We just need to reduce engine testing. Okay. That was some expensive testing we did there, but all worthwhile. Let's see what we got here. So this is perfect, because we got that extra 1 point, and our Evo 9 engine will be the best engine that we can squeeze out of Mercedes-Benz. That should, to some degree, help us, though it hasn't so far. And our wet weather tyre is now also perfect. Super. We will deploy our fortune points now to hopefully finish this traction control system. That would be good. Nice. Let's see if it's legal. It sure is. Sweet. We'll go back to trying to develop this automatic gear system. It's been eluding us so far, and I'm not 100% confident we're going to have much luck this time either, but at least we can get it done. We spent all our construction ability this round on building next year's cars, so we will not be deploying the traction control system this round. Let's get those cars ready to race, and we will see if we can break Pedro Diniz's duck. He's still to win a race this season. We're now at the halfway point in the season, and what was a very close gap last season is anything but this season. Let's see if we've got any more staff space. We do. Some people have quit in the commercial department actually, so it's a good job we noticed that. And that's something that maybe we haven't touched on before. Staff will resign throughout the course of the season. Maybe they get a better offer from another team. We can't poach staff, but our staff can be poached. It's one of the quirks of the game. But we've fully staffed most of our departments now, so quick summary of our end of season goals. Aside from winning the championship, what we want to do is reach a position where we feel confident paying for that factory upgrade. Maybe we have to spread the cost over the whole of next season. Ideally, what I want to do is exactly what happened to us last time, which was we finished the season with more than 6 million in the bank and just boom, drop the cash. Everybody's happy, we don't incur any debt and we don't incur any additional overheads throughout the season to sort of drain on our budget. Right, setup time. Extra braking. That looks good to me. I'm still tending towards the performance attributes a little bit more than the situational ones. I could have set up a bit more for the dry there. It seems to be indicating we're expecting a dry race, but I'd rather not specialise too much, I think, in weather setup, unless it's a race where, you know, you would almost 100% expect one thing over another. Alright, we've got an Evolution 8 engine. Did we upgrade something in particular? We must have ordered tyres last time. We must have. Oh, it was a hard compound, that's right. There we go. I knew I'd get there in the end. Okay, so everyone has got everything they should have. The only thing that's missing is the traction control system because we have not built it, which is obviously something of an impediment. Let's see how we do in France. 23 degrees and very, very dry. So we will be running the dry compound tyre. And the same old story. Johnny Newhouse takes pole for McLaren on a 1:15.180. Mika Hakkinen second for McLaren on a 1:15.278. Third goes to Giancarlo Fisichella for Arrows, 1:15.398. And teammate Pedro Diniz takes fourth, 1:15.504. Reasonably close between the top four, but not really. I'm a little bit concerned about the gap to Hakkinen, to be honest. I mean, before we even look at Newhouse there, we are off the single lap pace by about 1 to 2 tenths, and that's too big a gap for me. Meanwhile, the gap to the Ferraris, Schumacher leading Moriera there, is very, very small to Diniz. That's a little bit of a concern as well. Toru Takagi is having a pretty good season at Jordan, actually qualifying 7th this time out. Eddie Irvine puts his Williams 8th. Jan Magnussen's Minardi's 9th, that's an improvement for him. He's been qualifying 10th pretty consistently, so it's good to see him making steps in the right direction. And Emmanuel Collard puts his Stewart on 10th to round out the top 10. Losers are the Saubers and Tyrrells as usual. Benetton are still having a dreadful season against all logic, and Prost, they've taken a step forward. They were the dead last bottom team last season, so we shouldn't really pour too much scorn on them for sitting 15th and 16th at the mid-season, but nothing you'd write and tell your mum about. Okay. 26 degrees and very dry, so it's a 3-degree temperature rise for race day. We are going to put fresh boots on Fisichella and make sure he's running as light as possible on fuel. And Diniz will be running a 36-35 split this round. There we go. And fresh tyres for him as well. Right, let's see what's what. Oh, that's a very unusual result. Pedro Diniz takes his first win of the season on a 1:35.34464. Very, very pleased for him. That's obviously been the effect of the single stop strategy. It hasn't always paid off for him. In fact, very rarely has it paid off for him in terms of outperforming his teammate. But what it has done fairly consistently is got him to finish above where he should have. And although he's not been taking wins or anything, when we see him finish second or third, it's arguable whether he should really be there. He probably wouldn't be if he was on a 2-stop soft tyre strategy. So good to see this paying proper dividends this time. Johnny Newhouse takes second from McLaren on a 1:35.42203, so a pretty significant gap there, about 8.2 seconds down the road from Diniz. Third goes to Fisichella, 1:36.05.447. That's a bit of a bigger gap to Newhouse than I would like to see ideally. Michael Schumacher, 4th for Ferrari. Mika Hakkinen, 5th for McLaren, and the final points paying position goes to Williams with Eddie Irvine. Irvine and Herbert are doing pretty solidly actually for a Williams team that have been struggling the last few seasons. Jan Magnussen finishes one place up on where he began to take 8th for Minardi. David Coulthard's Benetton takes 9th, a very impressive drive for him. And the Jordans finish back-to-back, Toru Takagi finishing ahead of Alexander Wurz to take 10th. We lost due to engine failure Shinji Nakano's Prost, Ricardo Rossit's Stewart and Damon Hill's Tyrrell. Clutch failure took Mika Salo's Minardi out, and an accident killed off Celso Moreira's chances, and Alessandro Marini's Prost had a undiagnosed failure. In the Drivers' Championship, excuse me, I need to cough. Giancarlo Fisichella sits top still, significantly ahead of Michael Schumacher now, but it's not an insurmountable gap. Johnny Newhouse sits 3rd on 29 points, and Pedro Diniz has managed to claw his way back up to 4th on 24 points. Still pretty much out of the running, Diniz, really, but he could arguably fight his way to 3rd if he can keep it out of the walls. In the Constructors' Championship, we've finally started opening up a gap. It's been very, very close throughout the first half of the season, but the last 2 rounds have hoovered up quite a lot of points for us in comparison to our rivals. McLaren are still nipping at our heels in most respects, but the gap now is almost half and half, really. They're sitting second on 47 points, we sit top on 90 points, so we've essentially doubled their points tally. Again, it's not insurmountable, there's half the season to run, it's still all to play for, and we shouldn't consider it a done deal, but I am a little bit happier entering the second half of the season with a gap that large. Very pleased for Sauber to be sitting on 2 points. That puts them ahead of the Benettons, which is very, very important. And Prost, somehow, despite their terrible qualifying performances, sitting ahead of Minardi, who consistently outqualify them. I think Minardi are suffering somewhat from a reliability issue. Okay, it's a home Grand Prix, so we're hoping for good news. It seems Danke have signed with someone else, so that's a bad start. Yes, they have. That is sad, but it's okay because PlayStation were the ones that were offering more cash, so, you know, we'll take what we get. I'm going to start talking to Canal Bleu. And we have got all the bonuses from Goodyear now. Still no guarantees of anything, but we are controlling research and development, which is very, very important, as we have discussed numerous times. We've got our guarantee from Playlife. Excellent, excellent news. Still no progress really on the clothing deal, but I'm going to deploy the troops to try and hoover up some more cash. We will go for I guess we'll go for Learjet with 10%, and we will go after Morse potentially. Yeah, we will. Okay, so that means we need to change our priorities here for party times. We will keep PlayStation a deal. We'll bring along Korean Air, and I guess we'll bring Canal Plus. Let's take a look how the car's looking, how many slots we've got left. 4 slots, we're in negotiations with 4 people. That is maths that makes me happy. Still very, very grateful for PIAA's continual support, actually. You can't really underestimate the benefits of having certain sponsors that you just have this great affinity with, because it's just easy money. Round after round after round after round, and it all adds up. I mean, I suspect PIAA have probably put more money into the team than anybody bar the team sponsors, because we've not stayed with any one engine supplier long enough to build up that kind of overall sum, whereas PIAA have been with us almost every season now, putting in about $2.5 million a season. So yeah, it's got to be close. They've got to be one of our top all-time contributors, so very pleased to have them with us. Right, let's see what's going on in the world of news. Benetton have signed a team sponsorship deal with Red Bull, where Buzzing Hornets will be team sponsors for McLaren next season. Pedro Diniz has added another win to his tally. First of the season, very, very pleased for him. We had a great race with both drivers on the podium, we sure did. Johnny Newhouse took pole. Here's a question. Who got fastest lap that race? Doesn't say. Danker have distanced themselves from us and signed with Ferrari. We may in time forgive them, but I doubt it. Jordan and Elf have signed a partnership deal, so that's strange. They've moved away there from a works deal to a partnership deal. Maybe it was the only offer on the table. Fisichella actually got the fastest lap, so it's good to see ourselves back in that position. Jordan have signed Juan Pablo Montoya from Sauber. That's an interesting signing. I don't think it's particularly good for them. And Tyrrell have signed Gianno Trulli from Benetton. Pearl will be sponsoring Minardi, and FedEx will be sponsoring Prost. Sauber have signed a deal with Akai, and Fiat will be sponsoring Stewart. That's a big signing for Stewart. Fiat is one of the highest paying sponsors in the game world. S. Oliver have signed a deal with Tyrrell, and Castrol, again a huge... Castrol provide a lot of cash in this game, have signed with Williams, so we might see Williams back fighting out for podiums now they're regular point scorers again. And yeah, Giancarlo Minardi can't get no love, and Ron Dennis apparently is the most successful manager, but he just isn't because we are. I don't know how the game calculates it, but it's wrong. Okay, we made quite a healthy profit there. Let me check how many cars we've got for next season. I've already forgotten. 3 and we need 4, so I'm going to build the Driver Aid and the 2004 car. And I've just realised that I did something very, very, very stupid indeed, and ran the last round without redeploying the engineers that were working on the traction control project. So, bonus points to you guys if you've noticed that. If you haven't, then you're as bad as me, and this series of playthroughs is essentially worthless. Oh no, I did do it. Okay, that's fine, I can forgive myself now. I can in time forgive myself. We're entering the wind tunnel stage now with the C-Spec car. And we have some more technology to research. Let's update the clutch, I think that's smart. We can't deploy that upgrade because I didn't leave enough staff capacity, but it's not really going to be an impediment for us. How's the test program look for this round? Wow, that's pricey. But fortunately for us, we don't really have to do very much testing at all now. Okay, we don't need to do any engine testing whatsoever. So I'm going to move all that onto Forchon and take the engineers off. Let's run that. We're probably going to waste a few points here on the tyre front, potentially. Yes, we are. I'm going to upgrade the soft tyre, and then I'll do the hard, and then we are basically done with most aspects of testing. At that point it becomes about research and development rather than, chassis research and development rather than anything. Excuse me a moment, that was the door. Sorry about that. Okay, where were we? I've totally lost my train of thought now. People are so rude, man, interrupting us. That all looks good. Right, have I repaired the cars? That's the next question. I have not. Good to see that now Deniz is keeping it out of the war. We're saving on spare parts cumulatively by not having to repair damage and, you know, all the usual disastrous stuff that can happen. All the sponsors are set up correctly, so we can blast this race quite quickly, really. I am going to set up Fisichella like this, and Deniz I will set up like this. Controversial. We have a new wet tyre and a new traction control system to deploy, and we will do both of those things. All looking good. 16 degrees and very dry for qualifying. Nice cool temperature. Oh, but not a nice result. Johnny Newhouse takes pole for McLaren, Michael Schumacher second for Ferrari. Celso Moreira takes third for Ferrari, with Alex Wurz in fourth for Jordan, best qualifying of the season for him. Fisichella puts his arrows fifth. Mika Hakkinen takes sixth for McLaren, and Pedro Diniz takes seventh. Eighth goes to Eddie Irvine's Williams, Toro Takagi's Jordan ninth, and Ricardo Rosset Stewart rounds off the top 10. That's a very surprising result, and a very mixed up, jumbledy sort of grid, actually. I do wonder if maybe Ferrari haven't brought out a upgrade to their package, whereas the issue with Jordan I have no explanation for. I have no idea where that top 4 qualifying for Wurz has come from, but very, very, very good news for him, I imagine. Okay, temperature increase for the race with a strong wind. Not very dry, just purely dry at this stage. We're going to do the usual, because we don't mess with the classics. Diniz will be running a 30-30 split. Hopefully this allows him to claw back some places. I mean, I'm concerned that we're not actually fast enough to win this race anyway. But if he can land himself some decent points, even if Fisichella ends up outside the points or just taking 6th, as long as Diniz goes forward, then we can still call this a reasonably successful excursion. It's not like it's a long way to travel, I suppose, to screw up. Okay, best of luck. Hold on. There we go. Giancarlo Fisichella takes the win out of absolutely nowhere. 128.36.209. Half a second ahead of Mika Hakkinen's McLaren. Johnny Newhouse's McLaren takes third. Moreira claims fourth for Ferrari. Fifth goes to Eddie Irvine in his Williams, and Toro Takagi's Jordan again picking up points for 6th. And Diniz has once again let us down, this time hydraulic failure. So not really his fault, but still not the best news. We're now set on 100 points in the Constructors' Championship. I'd be a little bit more peed off if we hadn't have won that race now, based on what we now know. In good news though, PlayStation have agreed to give us cash, so we will accept that cash gratefully. I'm going to drop a TV advantage on Korean Air, and I'm going to see if it's Morse or Canal Plus who are giving the best deal. Canal Plus, so I'll drop a success card there, and let us see if we can't grab ourselves some cash there. We've got 10% of our staff available, so someone has signed with someone else. I forget who that is, but it is somebody we were talking to. I'm going to move those people down onto this clothing deal, hoover up some extra bonus cash, why not? We don't have, at the moment, any multi-season sponsor deals coming in. That is a little bit concerning to me, because that means we're going to have to renew contracts with everybody next season. However, the car is now getting pretty full. We've only got 3 slots left, so hopefully if we can pick up the 2 people we've just dropped advantage cards on next round, that means we've got the last 5 rounds or so to hoover up one last paying sponsor. Korean Air, Canal Plus, PlayStation. I'm going to remove PlayStation from that mix and bring Morse to make sure that we give ourselves the best chance of signing them. Nothing else really to worry about there, so let's head on out to testing land. We really don't need to be doing much testing at all. What's the... oh wow, the price of testing here is mental. We're just going to do 130 miles total, I think. Oh wow, that didn't give us the setup points that we needed, but we can live with it. We can live with it. It didn't waste any tyre development though, so must be grateful for small mercies. I think it's because I rushed through that stage that I didn't really pay enough attention to what we were actually going to end up with. Let's upgrade our technology. And, if the gods have been kind to us, our chassis, which they have. Now I've been extra stupid because I've wasted a chance by testing before doing this to develop a new package. Because I am an idiot. We'll do that next round, and that means we should have an upgrade for the final race of the season. That upgrade has brought us from 86 to 92% handling potential. That is very, very good news indeed. I'm not sure it's necessarily going to be enough to totally overthrow McLaren's advantage in qualifying, but it's a step in the right direction. I am going to build us a bunch more spare parts with the remaining engineers available to us. And yeah, we're going to miss out now on the D-spec for one round, but I think it's probably going to be neither here nor there really, given our current advantage. And you may have noticed, particularly after the midweek episode, that I am so overworked and busy right now and so super tired that I'm going to be making these little mistakes. Hopefully, the first few seasons of this playthrough I did competently enough that you guys feel you're still able to gain something out of this, and hopefully I get back up to speed fairly quickly. I'm going to put everybody on this task because there's no reason not to. We've got an automatic gear system next round, so that means I'm going to put people on a new automatic suspension system, just in case our technology starts going backwards next round. We are kind of overdue for that, to be honest. I would have thought one of our CAD or our CAM system would have gone backwards by now, but apparently technology is rather static in that area at the moment. Winfried will be team sponsors of Ferrari. Another win for Fisichella and another pole for Johnny Newhouse. He's been on fire in qualifying this season. Another failure to finish. It was Learjet. They have switched to Jordan. Williams have signed a works deal with Mercedes-Benz, so they will be stablemates to Benetton, I want to say. And Prost have become a partner of Mercedes-Benz. That's a pretty good deal for Prost. Fastest lap goes to Fisichella, and anything else particularly interesting? No, not really. Okay, let's repair the cars. At least I remembered to do that. Deniz has again put it in the walls, so we're going to use an extra spare part above what we would normally be using. Although actually, because he didn't have a chance to put wear on the car, we're using it the same amount. So maybe we shouldn't be too critical. I'm going to take a moment to save the game, and we will press on. I had to pause there because I'll tell you something, this is the first time I've recorded in over a month and the game hasn't crashed in the middle of recording, so I got a little bit worried that I'd pushed my luck a little bit and that if it had crashed right there we would have lost the last 2 rounds of progress, and it could have given me a chance to retrace my steps and not make those stupid mistakes I've just made. But hopefully they stand as a lesson that if you take your eye off the ball and you allow yourself to fall into this sort of clicking routine, you can actually balls up. So I am not above ballsing up. I think that should be clear to anybody who's been watching the channel for any length of time. Okay, we're going to have to show some favouritism here, and we know which direction that's going to be flowing. I am running at 6 frames per second. Why is that? 1 second. Okay, it seems stopping the recording and starting it again fixes that problem, so that's another hurdle cleared. We have a new soft tyre for Fisichella, that's right, and nothing new for Deniz. Right, let's run this round. 28 degrees and light rain, so we get to use those sexy intermediate tyres that we perfected earlier in the season. And the traction control should actually be helpful here as well, so that's good. And we're back on form for qualifying. Still a bit of a gap to the McLarens, and again, Michael Schumacher, wet weather conditions, tends to outperform himself and the car a little bit. Mika Hakkinen taking pole position on a 1:16.582, ahead of Schumacher's Ferrari on a 1:16.612. Deniz leads Fisichella, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Reasonable gap between them as well, almost a full 10th. Alexander Wurtz's Jordan takes 5th, Eddie Irvine's Williams for 6th, Dave Damon Hill puts his Tyrrell 7th, Shinji Nakano's Prost in 8th, Yarntrulli's Benetton takes 9th, and Toru Takagi's Jordan takes 10th. And again, down in Loser Town, we have the Tyrrells, the Prosts and the Saubers. Bad day at the office for both Collard and Moriera. It seems Moriera suffers in wet weather conditions quite badly. Johnny Newhouse also had a day to forget. Failure to qualify for Juan Pablo Montoya's Sauber and Alessandro Marini's Prost. So, you know, it could be worse, the manual. 24 degrees and cloudy, which means we're back onto the dry compound for race start at least. I don't have to change anybody's tyres because I haven't put any wear on them, and it will be the traditional 36-35 split for Deniz. Given that he's starting ahead of Fisichella, I've got high hopes for Deniz here, assuming he can keep it out of the wall. I'm still not entirely convinced he's the right guy for the team going forward, as much as I love the dude. I sort of think his form has bubbled off too much. If he was our lead driver this season, we would not be winning the championship. That's just a matter of fact. Maybe if we had Wurz or Frentzen instead of Fisichella, then we'd still be where we are, or maybe even further ahead. But if it was Deniz and Nakano, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are now. I think this is the point in the playthrough where, despite how good our engineering is, it's still not world-class engineering, I suppose. And we are showing the talent of the driver more than the engineering department. Not to underestimate how good the car is fundamentally, it's an opportunity to show how having drivers of Fisichella's calibre and above can sort of bring it all home when the gap in engineering terms is quite small. Right, smash it. Got a second position for Pedro Diniz. Mika Hakkinen takes the win for McLaren, Diniz second, Michael Schumacher rounds off the podium for Ferrari. Johnny Newhouse's McLaren takes fourth, so hell of a recovery drive there. And another honourable mention actually to Celso Moriera in sixth, he had a hell of a recovery. Engine failure took Fisichella out of the race there. There was a brake failure for Shinji Nakano's Prost. Alexander Wurz's Tyrrell failed to finish with a hydraulic problem. Same issues affected Jean Alais's Sauber. Accidents for Toru Takagi's Jordan and Damon Hill's Tyrrell, presumably with each other, took them out of the race, and a brake failure on Shinji Nakano's Prost ruined his day. Fisichella continues to lead the Drivers' Championship. Diniz has closed within 9 points of second place. Still no chance really of winning the Drivers' Championship here, but he could still finish the season second if he keeps up this recovery. And the gap between us and McLaren is shrinking, although we are still convincingly ahead. It only looks convincingly ahead at this precise moment, but that's, 2 DNFs for Fisichella and low points for Diniz. With wins going to McLaren, we'll close that gap right up, so we have to be very, very careful still. Okay, before we round off the episode, has anyone agreed to give us cash? Yes, Canal Plus has given us cash. And Korean Air have also given us cash. What about Morse? They're holding out. But we have almost completed coverage of this coming season's car, 51.7 million, so we're up 2.5 million all told. Yeah, looking good. Looking very, very good. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this episode was something of an improvement, if not a total return to normality. I hope you're having an awesome, awesome weekend, and unfortunately we are standing at the doorway of another week, but hopefully it treats you kindly, and I will talk to you very, very, very soon indeed. Have a good one.